The clock inside Buckingham Palace struck once, and a career began to unravel. Not slowly, not quietly, instantly. Because tonight, the future of Keir Starmer hangs by a single thread, and the hand holding the scissors wears a crown. What King Charles did behind closed doors has detonated across Westminster like a controlled explosion, precise, devastating, and impossible to contain. Ministers are scrambling, phones are vibrating off desks, advisors are shredding papers, and the Prime Minister is facing a public reckoning so severe it may end his time in office before the week is over. Before we roll the footage, just one thing: if you enjoy our work, drop a like and hit subscribe. Over 98% of you are watching without subscribing. Let's change that right now. It's free for you, but it fuels everything we do. Subscribed? Perfect. Now, enjoy the video. This was not a disagreement. This was not protocol. This was power, exercised coldly and deliberately.
We've got to rebuild into the next
For
general
decades,
election. That's the
Britain was
task.
told the monarchy reigned, but did not rule. That its influence was symbolic, ceremonial, ornamental. The last 48 hours have shattered that illusion. Because when the Crown decides to act, it can still bring governments to their knees with nothing more than ink, paper, and timing. Starmer entered Downing Street, promising stability, reform, and competence. He spoke of modern Britain and a new constitutional settlement. Tonight, he is not thinking about reform. He is thinking about survival. The first crack appeared at exactly 7:14 this morning. A photographer waiting near Downing Street caught an image that no one could explain away. The Prime Minister's Chief of Staff emerged carrying a cardboard box. No car, no security detail, no farewell wave. Just a man walking alone, shoulders slumped, clutching the remnants of his job like evidence from a crime scene. Within minutes, the image flooded social media. The BBC cut into programming. The Guardian pushed an alert. Twitter, now X, erupted with one question repeated thousands of times. What happened overnight? Why was Starmer's closest aide gone without warning? And why, at the exact same moment, was Buckingham Palace issuing statements at a pace never seen before? The answer was far darker than anyone expected. King Charles had not merely blocked Starmer's constitutional reforms, he had exposed them, methodically, completely. And the documents released by the palace have turned the Prime Minister from reformer into recklessness personified. 72 hours earlier, the government believed it controlled the narrative. After the King refused royal assent to Starmer's legislation, Labour headquarters went into full crisis mode. The talking points were distributed within minutes. The monarch had overreached. Democracy was under threat. Parliament had been defied. Starmer would stand as the defender of the people against an unelected institution clinging to relevance. For a few hours, it worked. Sympathetic outlets echoed the line. Panel shows debated whether the monarchy had outlived its usefulness. Activists trended hashtags calling for abolition. Labour MPs repeated their scripts with disciplined precision. The message was clear. This was Charles versus democracy, and Starmer was on the right side of history. Then the palace struck back. Quietly, ruthlessly, without spin. Instead of a rebuttal, Buckingham Palace released the receipts. Every letter, every memo, every legal opinion exchanged between the government and the Crown over 8 months. Not summaries, not interpretations, the raw documents. And buried inside them was political napalm. The correspondence revealed that the palace had warned the government repeatedly, 17 times. Detailed letters outlining constitutional conflicts, offers to collaborate, suggestions for amendments. Each warning ignored. Worse, internal government memos showed Starmer's own legal advisers raising red flags. They warned the legislation might fail in court. They warned the king could lawfully refuse assent. They warned of catastrophe. One document, dated 3 months ago, has become infamous. In it, the Attorney General urged caution, consultation, delay. The response came from Starmer's chief advisor, the same man now unemployed. He wrote that the king would never dare refuse a Labour government, that the political cost would be too high, that Charles would fold. He always folds. He did not fold. And that single miscalculation has collapsed an entire administration. The political transformation was immediate. Overnight, Starmer ceased to be a victim of royal interference. He became the architect of his own humiliation. Polls released this morning confirm the damage. His approval ratings have not dipped. They have plunged. Worse, the collapse is driven by Labour voters. People who voted for professionalism now see arrogance. Those who wanted stability now see chaos. Inside the party, the mood has turned savage. MPs who once applauded the reforms are briefing journalists anonymously, claiming they had concerns all along. Cabinet members are choosing their words with surgical caution. Backbenchers are whispering about leadership contests. The phrase, "he should consider his position," is everywhere. And Starmer cannot fight back. The evidence has trapped him perfectly. He cannot accuse the king of impropriety. The documents show constitutional obedience. He cannot claim surprise. The warnings are in writing. He cannot blame advisers without indicting his own judgment. Every exit is blocked. Every response deepens the wound. Meanwhile, King Charles has vanished from view. No interviews, no commentary, no victory lap, just silence. And that silence is devastating. While Starmer stumbles through defensive press conferences, the monarch remains composed, above the noise, letting the facts speak. Each hour of restraint magnifies the contrast. One man flailing, one man immovable. The opposition senses blood. Rishi Sunak, written off months ago, has re-emerged with lethal precision. In the Commons, he quotes directly from the released memos. He asks questions Starmer cannot answer without self-incrimination. When did you see the warning? Why ignore it? Who made the call? Cameras linger on the Prime Minister's face as each question lands like a blow. But this is not just political theatre. Something deeper is happening. Across Britain, a constitutional conversation has ignited. Ordinary people are debating checks and balances, the role of unelected institutions, the limits of executive power, and the results are shocking. Support for the monarchy has surged, not out of nostalgia, out of recognition. People saw a safeguard activate. They saw power stopped. And now, a new fear is spreading through Westminster, because the documents released so far may not be the worst of it. Sources confirm a sealed file exists beneath Buckingham Palace, its contents known to fewer than 5 people, and what it contains could turn embarrassment into catastrophe. According to multiple insiders, the palace uncovered evidence suggesting Starmer's team sought favourable legal opinions through inducements, not crude bribes, something subtler, promises of appointments, consulting contracts, honours, career advancement, all contingent on public support for reforms those experts privately doubted. If proven, this would not be politics. It would be corruption. How did the palace learn this? Through networks Starmer's team never understood. Academia, the judiciary, the old establishment ties dismissed as obsolete. A professor mentioned discomfort at a dinner. A retired judge confided in an old colleague. A junior civil servant spoke up through back channels. Piece by piece, the palace assembled the picture. And then Charles waited, months, watching, documenting, allowing the process to unfold until the moment of maximum impact. Historians will debate this choice, strategic brilliance or dangerous brinkmanship. But the result is undeniable. When the king acted, resistance was impossible. Now the question is timing. Will the remaining evidence be released publicly or handed directly to authorities? Palace sources suggest legal consultation is underway. The implication is chilling. Criminal investigations are on the table, and Starmer does not know what evidence exists. He does not know who talked. He does not know what was recorded. Inside number 10, panic is setting in. Advisors are hiring lawyers. Staff are updating CVs. The Chief of Staff's departure was only the first cut. Cabinet meetings have turned surreal. When Starmer asked for public declarations of support, he received silence. Not a single minister committed. That silence spoke volumes. The opposition has announced a no-confidence motion. Labour MPs will be forced to choose loyalty or survival. The Liberal Democrats demand an independent inquiry. The SNP has joined the calls. Starmer stands alone. He has one option left: a general election, a nuclear gamble. Under normal circumstances, madness. But desperation breeds risk. An election could shift focus. It could reframe the crisis. Or it could annihilate Labour entirely. Advisors are split. Time is short. Internationally, allies are stunned. European leaders expressed disbelief. Washington is uneasy. Commonwealth nations are watching closely, recalibrating their own debates about the crown. What happens in London will echo across continents. Then came the final revelation, a classified briefing delivered to the palace by a veteran civil servant, apolitical, trusted. Inside it, a roadmap. The constitutional reforms were phase 1. The monarchy was the first obstacle. Phase 2 targeted the House of Lords. Phase 3, the judiciary. Phase 4, the civil service. Phase 5, electoral law. Incremental, plausible, devastating. This was not modernization. It was consolidation of power. Democracy hollowed out while retaining its shell. Charles read the document 3 times. His coronation oath echoed in his mind. Preserve the laws, protect the realm. He acted, not as a politician, as a guardian. That document may be released within days. When it is, the government will not survive. Leadership contests are already forming. Labour is preparing for life after Starmer. The monarchy, forever changed, has crossed a line it can never uncross. Britain stands at a crossroads. Power checked. Or power unchecked. The next 72 hours will decide careers, parties, perhaps a generation of governance. The king has moved. The Prime Minister has no room left. What happens next? Will the evidence drop? Will Starmer resign? Will Britain redefine its constitution in real time? Stay watching, stay alert. Subscribe now, because this story is far from over. The next move could change everything.